Happy Devil's Sunday. This is, excuse me, the Woo Report. The Woo Report, episode 293. It's a beautiful Sunday morning for your New Jersey Devils. Is it Timo time? We shall see. Obviously, it's going to be Timo time tonight. James Nichols of the fourth period putting it out there yesterday. And then you got Amanda Stein of the New Jersey Devils saying that, oh, wait. Let's wait till 5 p.m. when Lindy speaks. I'm your host, Sam Wu, streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. Coming to you live from the bunker in an undisclosed location in New Jersey in the Primetime Radio Studios. Ted is already saying this works. I'm chilling as I just finished breakfast. He also hates the loss against the Golden Knights. Now the Devils lost, need more muscle, grit, and defense. Timo and Lazar soon, please. And that's something to talk about as well. Timo, Meier, and Curtis Lazar, both acquisitions before NHL trade deadline last week. I finally caught up on some sleep last night. It was been a rough 2 weeks for me personally. The week before, preparing for our $500,000 party. Then suddenly the NHL trade deadline. Just haven't got much sleep. Finally got my sleep. So I've got all this energy right now. So sorry that there was no Woo Report late last night. But that's okay. It's going to be a triple header Devils Sunday here on the Let's Go Devils podcast. But the Devils have depth now. And it's scary to think with depth, with the young talent that the team has, acquiring a couple veterans, one going into his prime, Timo Meier, Curtis Lazar, former first-round pick with playoff experience, looking to win and win only. They don't like losing, folks. And what the Devils displayed against the Golden Knights a couple nights ago was a work of art, really, because they peppered the Golden Knights goaltender. They put the pressure on. They kept at it. They did not give up. And they lost in a skills competition, which sucks, but at the same time, it doesn't tell the narrative about your New Jersey Devils. They did this without Timo Meier and Curtis Lazar, which will take about, I would suggest, about 5 to 6 games for them to get adjusted. So you're going to have to be patient, but the Devils' schedule is going to get harder. Tonight, they will play the Arizona Coyotes at Mullet Arena. Some would say Moulet. But they're going to be at the Mullet tonight to finish up this road trip, which a game that they should be winning. What separates them and the Carolina Hurricanes right now for the Metropolitan Division is essentially these shootout wins that Carolina has the edge on, 3-1. Last time I checked the standings. So the Devils are very well in it, and they haven't deployed their new acquisitions. And what does the lineup look like with Timo Meier and Curtis Lazar? Well, let's go over this right now. Right now, the hottest line for your New Jersey Devils that's carrying the team at the moment is the Hischier, Tatar, Mercer line. Mercer going for 9 straight games with a goal. That is your hottest line right now that cannot be stopped. In fact, I think a lot of it has to do with the attention to Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes, the Devils star, one of the pillars of the franchise. Some would argue the face of the franchise, Jack Hughes. If you've noticed, a lot of teams that the Devils are facing have put their top defense to try to mitigate and neutralize Jack Hughes. But now the Devils have depth, and they can roll four lines effectively. In coaching, when you coach a hockey team, you should always have the mentality is the best players on your team are the ones that are currently out on the ice. So you're only as good as your weakest link. And right now the Devils can roll four lines. The BMW line is showing signs of life. Now there is great competition for a roster spot, for playing time, for your New Jersey Devils. And what that does, folks, is look at what Jesper Boqvist has accomplished with his measly 11, 12 minutes of ice time. He is looking great out there. He's trying to make a case that, Lindy, you need to put me in the lineup. I am effective, I am relentless, and you're not going to see me dilly-dally out on the ice. And we saw Boqvist in the last few games really show his speed and he's attacking the net. And that's what the Devils need. Going down the stretch, playing these tough teams, and going into the playoffs. So let's look at the lines right now because, again, we started off with the hottest line, I would say, in hockey right now is the Tatar, Hischier, and Dawson Mercer line scoring at will. Second line, with the acquisition of Timo Meier, and we're talking line two, and again, it's not like line one is better than line two. It's just really a label more than anything. But Timo Meier, Jack Hughes, and Jesper Bratt. So when Lindy Ruff is when he is rolling four lines, he literally is rolling four lines because with that, with Timo Meier being now a New Jersey Devil and the top six really solidified at the moment, that brings Sharangovich and Palat down to the third line. And look for the BMW line. The bottom six, essentially, it's what have you done for me lately? Because now, with the acquisition of Curtis Lazar, Boqvist playing very well, the BMW line showing some life, there's going to be an odd man out in the lineup. Do you sit Sharangovich? But he's a great penalty killer. Do you want Dawson Mercer to be killing penalties? And it's a question you're going to ask. What have you done for me lately? Eric Halla, possibly reunited on a line with Curtis Lazar? Andre Palat? Now, Palat, I don't like when people say that he's a bust. You haven't seen Palat at his best yet because the playoffs haven't started. But Palat on the third line, I've said this over and over and over again, that third line is the key to the New Jersey Devils. And what they've assembled in the past week by getting the depth that I was begging for, depth. Meier and Lazar can hit, but also that third line could possibly be a top 6 in any NHL team right now. And that's something to be excited for. And injuries do happen, folks. But the Devils having depth right now make them so dangerous. So dangerous. They are not a top-heavy team, meaning only one line that gets it done. Kind of like what the Edmonton Oilers are kind of perceived as. And their power play. Their power play looks awesome with Timo Meier. And right now, Miles Wood is off the PP2. With Meier being on PP1, it moves Palat down to PP2. Now you've got 2 solid power play units for your New Jersey Devils. The depth is there. The beefalytics, I would like the beefalytics to be beefed up a little bit more, but this is adequate. What Tom Fitzgerald gave up on trade deadline with the possibility of re-signing Timo Meier. It'll be up to you, the Devils fans, to make Timo Meier feel at home on March 7th against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Remember that time, November 23rd. Never forget when the league and the officiating took away 3 goals from your New Jersey Devils to stop the winning streak. Remember that. And bring that venom, bring that playoff atmosphere on a Tuesday night when the Devils play the Maple Leafs. Shorts Guy will be at American Whiskey for pregame. For Game Day Live, I will be there in person for Devils After Dark with Scotty, beaming in Scotty from L.A. and Vinny from Chicago for Game Day Live. The beefalytics is there, folks. And I think this team, the New Jersey Devils, have assembled, Tom Fitzgerald has assembled a team with depth at the forward position. Oh, my goodness, says Hollow will be on the third line with Palat and whoever else is playing well, Boquist, Sharangovich, or Lazar. Ted says John Tortorella said he believes that the Devils' offense is more dangerous than Edmonton. Of course, because of depth. And they added depth upon their depth. When Tortorella said that, that's when the Devils whooped their butts 7-0 on a day that we had our $500,000 party. And the cap hit that Lazar has is pretty good. Thank you, oh my goodness, for 2 more years at a very affordable contract. And Lazar's not here to have a picnic. Lazar's here to win. And remember the article that I wrote for pucksandpitchforks.com that this team as a core hates losing more than they love winning. That's the kind of mentality I see and I love on teams, their DNA for championship type caliber teams. And they're playing like a team right now. They are unselfish. They're playing for each other. And Lindy Ruff right now maybe has his best team since the 2005-2006 Buffalo Sabres. I know his Buffalo Sabres went to the Cup Finals in 99 where they got kind of screwed by Hull's skate in the crease. But that 2005-2006 team of the Buffalo Sabres with Thomas Vanek, Chris Drury, Danny Briere, Ryan Miller in net, Henrik Talinder. I mean, that was just a stacked team. I think this team is much better And they are so young, folks. Good things are going to come. And it also, oh my goodness, said Lazar could replace Wood next year. Well, I'll tell you what, Miles Wood has to step it up every game. He can't just disappear, especially when you have this type of depth going on for your New Jersey Devils. Jeremy Miller says analysis team did good getting Lazar. Hope it works out. He's an NHL video game franchise mode legend. Jeremy Miller's saying in the Facebook Live, a happy Devil Sunday to you, Mike Rossi. Mike Rossi down in North Carolina. And let's look at the defense right now. I think the pairing right now, Graves and John Marino, is solid. And that's your second pairing. Dougie Hamilton and Siegenthaler, good chemistry. Siegenthaler, again, needs to be consistent. He's gotten better in the past few games after taking a timeout. The third pairing, Severson. It could be Ball. It could be Brendan Smith. But Luke Hughes is coming up. He's coming. About a month away. Plus a few days, we may see Luke Hughes in the lineup. And some swear Luke Hughes is the real deal. He has been ripping it up for the University of Michigan. Also, leading in the World Juniors, Team USA. Have you noticed that Kevin Ball has been using his body more effectively recently? Kevin Ball has potential there. Gives the Devils size, and if he's using his size, his reach, his God-given talent of being so big, it bodes well for the New Jersey Devils. Like I said, defense wins championships. And the goaltending, let's look at the goaltending here. Akira Schmid is making a strong case of being part of the NHL team called the New Jersey Devils. He has done everything you would want in a 1A or a 1B scenario. And against the Golden Knights, who is a top-tier team in the NHL, he held his own. And a couple of those goals were really not his fault. Lucky bounces happened, but he had poise and took the Devils as far as the fourth round in the shootout. Simply put, the Devils just didn't score in the shootout. Vegas was held up by excellent goaltending. Excellent goaltending. Yeah, so Timo Meier should be in tonight. Again, conflicting stuff on Twitter. You have James Nichols, who's a good friend of the podcast of the fourth period, saying it's Timo time. And then you've got Amanda Stein saying, wait till Lindy says something at 5 p.m. today. 5 p.m. Eastern today. As the Devils take on the Arizona Coyotes at the Mullet. 7 p.m. Eastern start. It's a triple header Sunday here on the Let's Go Devils podcast. We got Game Day Live at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, and Devils After Dark after the game. The Sunday, normal Sunday edition, 9 p.m. Let's Go Devils podcast has been preempted because of the game scheduling. Yes, oh my goodness is correct. Lazar is having paper issues with immigration, so that may take a little bit of time. But don't worry, Lazar will take you far. Meier will take you higher. And that's what I have to say here on the Woo Report. On a beautiful Sunday morning, 31 degrees outside, sunny in beautiful New Jersey. And again, I want to thank all those listening, watching this podcast. We had a near record week this past week, but we did break some records, some daily records, because of the Timo Meier trade. John Sumner likes to rhyme. Yeah, I mean, Lazar will take you far. Meier will take you higher. And that's what I say. That's what you should get from what Tom Fitzgerald has given up to make this team better, saying that the guys deserve it. And absolutely they do. I think Lindy Ruff deserves the Jack Adams Trophy. Again, Lindy Ruff under fire by fans after the second game of the season. But I told you, and I told you last year, and I'll double down, Lindy Ruff this season is the only coach that can coach your New Jersey Devils, and boy, has he done a fine job. McGill, Sarge, as assistant coaches, Andrew Burnett, they've done a great job. They've done a great job. But give it some time, folks, in the next 5 games. Give it some time. There will be an adjustment with Timo Meier. And oh my goodness, I should give you a super chat for saying Meier will take you higher, and I do like that Taylor Ham, Sam I am. Well, thank you. Oh my goodness. I should give you a super chat or a super beer at American Whiskey. Let's see here. Look on Twitter Live as well. Got some people tuning in here on the Woo Report. Let's see here. Also, Facebook Live. Michael Pedrosa. Is this too early? Oh, well. It's never too early for Devils hockey. Because we're rolling. We're rolling. I mean, Dawson Mercer could be tying and breaking records. But let's look at the schedule before we go. The schedule, the upcoming week. The tough schedule of your New Jersey Devils. Tonight, obviously, they play the Arizona Coyotes. Toronto on Tuesday. We'll be there live for Game Day Live and Devils After Dark. Then they play the Capitals on the 9th. Montreal on Saturday night. And then a back-to-back on Sunday. They play the Carolina Hurricanes at 7 p.m. Eastern. We will be there at American Whiskey. That is going to be an important game in terms of the standings of the Metropolitan Division. The Devils can gain 4 points out of it if they win in regulation against the Hurricanes. Then you've got back-to-back games Tuesday and Thursday at the Rock against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I wonder who did the scheduling on this one. But think of it as home game 1, home game 2 in the playoffs against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Again, it's going to have a playoff flair. Then they go down to Florida for their traditional snowbird weekend against the Panthers on Saturday, March 18th and 19th against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I know Andrew Bunin of the Sam Barr Sports Grill down at Cocoa Beach, Florida, who loves the Devils, the Let's Go Devils podcast, will be there. Then they play Minnesota. And don't forget about the Rangers on March 30th, which we will be there in full event mode at American Whiskey. We will bring the trash talking that night. I have some stuff planned out. I'm starting to beef up our production value at American Whiskey with more shenanigans. I mean, I've got signs made up. Like here, I got some signs made up. Actually, I've had this sign for a while, that I'm showing on the camera feed for March 30th. It is going to be a fun time at American Whiskey because I want the Ranger fans to know we shall not be intimidated if we shall play them in the first round, second round, and third round of the playoffs. There's a new sheriff in town, and his name is Jack Hughes. You want a Capo Caco? And you were cheering for Capo Caco? No, there's a new sheriff. His name is Jack Hughes. His deputy, Timo Meier, and Jesper Bratt. And don't forget about Nico Heischer and Dawson Mercer and Thomas Tatar. Plot is pretty much like the dad of the group. Holla, I'm telling you, Holla's going to step it up in the playoffs. Now he's got his old buddy back, Curtis Lazar. You better watch out, folks. Just like what happened with the Lindy Ruff thing. I'm calling it right now. Eric Holla is going to step it up in the playoffs before you know it. Oh my goodness, says the Trashalytics will be high against the Rags. See, Bonaz says Rangers of trash. He went out and got old players when he needed to get a good, solid defenseman. John's asking a pretty good question. John Muskell of YouTube Live. Sam, come the playoffs, will the goaltending be split? I will say this. Lindy Ruff has already showed his hand on the game plan. What have you done for me lately? He will go with the hot goaltender. You betcha. And right now, the hot goaltender right now, in my mind, is Akira Schmid at the moment. Will he see more playing time? I don't know. But Vitek Vanacek, competition's good, folks. Competition is a great thing because Vanacek is going to have to get back on his A game. He can't be giving up 5 goals. Akira Schmid right now is the hot goalie, and that's what Lindy Ruff is going to go with during the playoff. That's why you have a 1A and 1B. Not as a backup, is what have you done for me lately? And same with the depth on the forwards on the offense. There's going to be an odd man out. There's depth there. It's a happy problem. What have you done for me lately? That's all for now. See you on Game Day Live later tonight. Till next time, let's go Devils.